If you ever dreamed of living in an industrial studio apartment, then this video is for you. What is up YouTube? My name is Mike, and in this video I will go through the process of finding my dream studio apartment and bringing it to life. A little background on me: I'm a photographer and filmmaker, and even though I'm someone who can work from his laptop, I always felt like I need a huge space, as I believe that big spaces allow for big ideas to be born. Now, it wasn't always like that. For the past 10 years I've been living in very small places, moving from student house to student house off to the next. And even though at the time it felt like all these tight spaces squeezed creativity out of me, after a while it became mentally exhausting. I guess it was natural to try and find something as big as possible where bigger ideas could be born in. And that's when I had the idea to create an industrial studio apartment when I can use it as a creative hub and have friends come over, work together on cool projects, and generally just be inspired in the place I work and live in. So around a year ago I started searching for an industrial space that I could turn into a studio. However, that was a very long process of seeing different places, meeting landlords, going from one to the other multiple times a week, and even though I always felt I was very close to what I need, I was never really there. Either the spaces were too small, or they had too many problems, or sometimes the prices were too high. There was always a problem. It was just never ending. It was an exhausting period, till one day I saw this listing online for a 250 square meter storage space that had a very low price compared to all the others. It immediately grabbed my attention, but to be honest, I didn't have my hopes too high for this one. The day of the viewing finally came, and I kinda felt like it was not it and wanted to cancel, but I felt a bit bad that I had already planned it with the landlord, so I said to myself, I'll just go have a look and leave. Who knows? So the very first second I walk in, I was amazed immediately. I mean, it must be kinda crazy to be amazed by a dirty old storage space, but I could already see the vision. It was perfect for what I needed. Also, the landlord seemed to like what I do. We had a nice chat, and we also found some mutual friends, so I immediately signed the deal. And by immediately, I mean an exhausting period of 3 weeks of sending back and forth paperwork to my accountant, to lawyer, landlord, back and forth. To this day, I have to say I have no idea what half of these papers mean, but in the end I managed to land a great deal. We signed a contract and the game was on. First thing I did after leaving the space on day one was to go back to my apartment and create a 3D model out of my memory. I wanted to see if this place could serve what I wanted to create, and it certainly could. I later on went back and made a proper 3D scan of the whole place with an app called Luma, and then brought the actual 3D model into Cinema 4D, and now that I had a more precise model, I could create something better. I gathered a lot of inspiration from other industrial spaces. Even though my main inspiration was Rick Rubin's house, some people might think it looks like a psych ward, but I feel like looking at these empty spaces and this whole minimalism makes me feel bliss. And in the end of the day, my work speaks for itself and not my house or studio. The idea was to create a place that is a reflection of my own mind. It has to be clean, tidy, and have enough space for ideas to be born. I was also inspired quite a lot by Rick Owens' house in Italy, I think. I just liked everything, to be honest. I like the materials he used and the random furniture or statues all over the place. So that was also definitely a big inspiration.
I don't think about domestic details that much. They feel a little fussy to me. So the domesticity in this apartment is pretty minimal.
I quickly realized that hiring all the people would be impossible for me to do it, and it would take loads of time to find the right ones. So I got some help from a friend who's an architect. I went to her studio, she showed me a lot of samples, we discussed a lot of things, and eventually she would take over half of the work, at least the most important one, which was electricity, plumbing, and creating the kitchen. And finally, day one of construction started. It took around 3 days for the electricians to put plugs, lights, switches, everything. I did have the option to hide the cables, but I thought exposed cables give more to the whole industrial look. I mean, the electricians thought I'm a bit weird for doing this, but I liked it, so who cares. I also got some help from my uncle, who helped to remove the window covers. Seems like this was previously used as a storage, so they tried to hide the light. So now that the electric stuff are done, up next are the plumbers rolling in, starting with the bathroom and then the kitchen. But that's a story for the next episode. I hope you guys like the video. Can't wait to document more of the process of building my dream industrial studio apartment. Be sure to hit all the buttons and see you on the next one.